Okay, so here we are live once again with another He-Man and the Masters Universe cartoon collection unboxing. And I grabbed the wrong figure because I actually meant to open Whiplash. Shadow Weaver is going to be tomorrow or next episode, probably tomorrow. So yeah, here we go. Whiplash. There we go. There's the right one. So evil tail thrashing warrior. So here's the cross-cell artwork we got on the back. We opened up Bo on the last episode. We're going to open up Shadow Weaver on the next episode. Nice piece of artwork at the top says the betrayal of Stratos, and it has Whiplash firing a missile launcher at uh, He-Man and Stratos and Delora, I think that character's name is. So includes rocket launcher and twist and turn into powerful battle positions, modernizing and celebrating the 80s Masters Universe animated series. So I was not ever able to get the standard version of Whiplash, the one more based on the vintage toy. This is his appearance on the cartoon, but he pretty much looks like the toy anyway, a little less detailed and got some different colors here and there. We'll talk a little bit about that once we get them opened up. So, and he does come with a comic book, but it's the same comic book that came with Bo on the last episode. So if you want to see me read that comic book, make sure you check out the episode with Bo. I can get it out of here. Kind of got a little bit of the edges of the glue from the blister on the comic. That happens sometimes. And here we go, out of the package. And this is held on there by a rubber tab, but I just happened to broke it. So there's the missile launcher. He does not come with the spear that the original Whiplash came with, unfortunately. That's one of the things that I dislike about the cartoon collection is I'd like to have those iconic weapons that come with the original characters, and they usually don't come with them. Like Merman didn't have his corn sword. I don't think Triclops has his sword, even though I don't have Triclops yet. That's all very disappointing. And Whiplash does not have a spear. Thankfully, like in the case of Whiplash, though, it's just kind of a generic Grayskull accessory that they recolored. At least with Merman and Triclops, they had unique weapons that only came with those characters. Well, Fisto had a purple version of Triclops' sword, but still, it's Triclops had it first. It came with Triclops before it became with Whiplash. All right, so I think I have all the rubber tabs cut now, and they were all like really deep in the package, so I had to go through the back, and I used the snips to do it because it just made it a little easier. And here's his tail, kind of a crocodile-looking tail, kind of flat, and doesn't seem to have any kind of like. I mean, it's soft rubber, so you can kind of move it around a little bit, but it's not like wired on the inside. It's not like a bendy. And I think that this would have been improved a lot by maybe making it a bendy and having it so you could pose it somewhat. But as it is, it's just going to be like this piece of rubber that hangs off of his back. So here's the figure itself. He's still got rubber tabs stuck in his elbow. And they did a nice job with the face sculpt. I think he looks nice and ugly. He doesn't have that third tooth hanging from underneath his nose. I guess he's got a septum ring. I think that's the only logical explanation of that. And he's got like the kind of Skeletor type feet, but it's how they're drawn on the cartoon where it's a little more simple. Oddly enough, Skeletor just had plain boots. He didn't have the feet with the toes on there. But Whiplash, the original Whiplash figure, I believe that there were variations of it, and that some of them came with the same legs that Buzz-Off came with, and some of them came with the same legs that Skeletor came with. Clawful had the same thing going on. At least I think it applied to both of them. Now, the other difference that I remember as far as Whiplash on the vintage figure is you can see this one has a green belt, and the original Whiplash figure, I believe, had an orange belt. He does not have any kind of furry texture on the waist piece at all. So the original Whiplash obviously just had like the same kind of furry trunks that most Masters of the Universe figures had, but he does not. He just has plain blue trunks with a plain green belt. So I think that this is a different pelvis piece. I think this is a new pelvis piece that I haven't seen before on any of these figures. He doesn't even have the same plain belt that Bo had. It's a bit thicker, and you can see it kind of tapers down in the middle a little bit, almost like kind of the standard Masters of the Universe belt, but just not quite as much. And then he's got this backpack piece that's permanently attached, and obviously that's where his tail's going to go. He does have a new torso, which does have some pinstriping sculpted into it. It might be the same one they used on the animated Buzz Off, but I don't have that figure to compare. So, and then another difference between this guy's design and the actual Whiplash toy is you can see he's got some blue bracers that match with his trunks and his boots, whereas the original one didn't have that. He just had like, green Skeletor arms. So let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and plug in the tail. And I'm guessing this is, it looks like to me like it's going to lock in and it's not meant to be removed once you put it in there. There we go. And yeah, it's in there. Really solid. So, you probably could get it out, but I wouldn't recommend it. I think like that might run a risk of actually breaking the toy because it's in there very, very firmly. So yeah, don't do that. But man, it would have been a lot better if this tail had had like some kind of posability to it. And I think that would have brought a lot to the figure, but unfortunately that's not the case. So and it looks like he has a bit of a thicker neck than Masters of the Universe generally tend to. And since the head is kind of jowly and like it fits, it all works together pretty well. He's got that sort of double chin thing going on like Whiplash usually has, and he's got pupils in his eyes, so that's nice. He's got like this smug expression on his face. He looks kind of like Sydney Greenstreet a little bit, I think. So anyway, let's go and talk about the articulation. Whiplash can look up about that far, look down about that far, tilt the head quickly from side to side, rotate the head all the way around. Of course, the arms rotate all the way around the shoulders, and they raise up to the sides about that far. Now, Whiplash does have a single joint of articulation at the elbow, which extends about that far, bends it about that far, rotates all the way around. Wrist joint rotates all the way around and has a vertical hinge here. I just noticed this is the same hand that Prince Adam came with, and I think the Filmation He-Man that held a loft hand. Unfortunately, Faker didn't come with it, but Whiplash does for some reason, and I'm guessing it's probably so that they could have him hold this rocket launcher in a bit more of a up at the shoulder kind of thing. It still doesn't quite reach all the way to his shoulder, but they at least tried to make it work. I don't know if it really works. Where's the package? Where's the package? We can have a look at the always setting stuff down and always forgetting where I put it. That's Bo. Uh, I've only got so much room over here. You would think that it would not be as easy as it is for me to misplace stuff. There's the inner blister. Here we go. Yeah, it shows he's not even holding it by the handle on the picture in the package. You see that? I don't know how he's holding that. But whatever. The way they show it on the package here, he's almost holding it more like a rifle. And I haven't seen the episode at least in a really long time. I know I've seen it at some point, but it might have been years ago the last time I saw it. So I think that's at least kind of close to how he's holding it on the illustration, at least, if not like the instructions. But still, it would have been nice to have that spear. I don't care if he had the spear on the cartoon or not. It would have been nice to have it. Now, where was I? Oh yeah, I was talking about articulation. So then the waist rotates all the way around. It's going to kind of bump into that tail a little bit, but it doesn't seem to cause too much trouble. Legs can move back about that far. Legs can move forward about that far. They can move back to the side about that far, so he can do the splits no problem. He's got a single joint of articulation at the knee. Seems like it's a little stuck on mine, but I got it loosened up. There's the range of motion you get at the knee, and of course that rotates all the way around, like so. It's got a boot cut. Boot rotates all the way around. Foot points down about that far. Foot points up about that far, and then rotates all the way around. So that is the articulation on this guy. I like the colors of them. They come together really nice. They're not 100% accurate to the original figure, but they're supposed to be accurate to the cartoon, so that's okay. The original figure had a much lighter, brighter, almost kind of like a fluorescent green for the arms and the head and the legs, and I think the torso green was a little bit darker. And like I mentioned before, he had an orange belt on the original figure and did not have blue bracers. So they did change up the coloring a little bit, but it's still recognizably Whiplash. It's not like with Clawful where it just looks almost like a completely different character. And I've mentioned before that, like, I'm not trying to talk smack about the filmation design of Clawful because I love that design. So I like that design better than the original figure. So don't get me wrong, but yeah, this one definitely took a few liberties, but it's still I think like uh, a pretty faithful design to the original toy, and it's pretty faithful. This toy is pretty faithful to that design, so they're all kind of recognizable as Whiplash. I think that's fine. Anyway, fairly short episode this time. Didn't have a whole lot to talk about, and since I already read the comic book, don't need to read the comic book again. But it is Halloween time. It's October 1st, and it's nice that we were able to open like a an ugly monster to start off October, isn't it? And tomorrow's figure, the next episode at least, I don't know, it's gonna be probably tomorrow. Uh, a little more appropriate because it's Shadow Weaver, the evil mistress of dark magic. She's a witch. What better to open on Halloween time than a witch? So we're gonna get started on that. We're gonna allow lots of cool stuff for Halloween. After I open up Shadow Weaver, I'm gonna have this guy to open up. I'm gonna move on to a GI Joe figure and open up Crystal Ball, who's a nice creepy character. And we got some Universal Monsters stuff. We're going to have a whole lot of cool stuff. So if you don't want to miss any of that, make sure you like and subscribe and all the fun YouTube stuff down below. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about Whiplash, both the character in general and this figure specifically. And I guess that's it for this episode. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you next time. Bye.